everybody. It's Chelsea.
I'm Emily, and this is Good Times Grooming. Today, I'm going to be grooming Mr. Ollie. He is a giant schnoodle, so a giant schnauzer mixed with a poodle. He came in about 3 inches long. Mom wanted a longer haircut on him, but he was completely matted. So I've already pre-shaved him and bathed him and dried. So we're gonna kind of bring you along and show you going over the body and then finishing up his face. He's got a lot of matting behind the ears and the cheeks. So I'm gonna show you guys what I'm gonna do to keep like the round doodle face, but working around the matting and showing you what I do there. So, all right. So I haven't done his pads, well, I kind of roughly did his sanitary. I still gotta do his pads and sanitary. So I'll do those real quick. Fucking trucks, I forgot how bad it is over here.
That sucks that he's matting, because he would have been really good long time.
And I thought about dematting him, especially for the video, to do a longer haircut. But I decided it was just too much for me and for him. It would have been a lot. And I was touching the mats to kind of get a feel for it, and he was already biting me, so I decided not to do that. Good thing is he's thick, so maybe that doesn't look that bad on him. Yeah, we both had evil Yorkies today. Mine wasn't so much evil, mine was just dramatic. He wasn't really biting, he was just screaming.
Okay, I can deal with the screaming. When you're screaming and you're evil, and I sort of, like, it was so bad, and I'm like,
I know, and then I'm like, the neighbors can hear.
Exactly.
They really think I'm in here beating you, and I'm just touching you, and you're screaming at me. I'm waiting for the day some cops come knocking on my door, like, ma'am, what are you doing in there? A Yorkie.
And I know y'all can relate, because these are the days I was telling her that the owner of that Yorkie didn't tell me until after she picked it up that she took it somewhere else and they could not do it. You know, I felt like she should have mentioned that in the beginning, but she didn't. And you know, I am getting to the point in my life where I feel like a majority of these people need to be cussed the fuck out. Because I felt like he set me up.
Well, and I wonder, like, I get so many people that their dogs are bad, and I tell them, and they already know, you know, they didn't say anything, but I wonder if they do that just to, like, see if you can
get it done.
See if the dog is actually as bad as other people have told them. Like, that's kind of the vibe that I get from them whenever I tell them. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, like, that's what the other groomer said. So I feel like they kind of just hop around trying to find somebody that either won't tell them that it's bad or that the dog will magically be good for.
Yeah,
but
which a lot of groomers don't tell them that the dog is bad. I'm the opposite.
Yeah, no, it's not our fault. And I don't call their dogs bad. I mean, it's not really the dog's fault. You know, you don't really know what happened or who groomed him before.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times it's just them wanting somebody that either the dog is going to be good for, which 9 times out of 10 doesn't happen because it's usually the dog, not the groomer.
Yes.
I feel like they want somebody that the dog is just going to be better for a lot of times. Usually I don't charge a special handling the first time unless the dog is horrible. Like, I see how they do the first time, and then I'm like, okay, from now on we're going to do this. And I had a customer that I told her that the dog, you know, is difficult for the legs. She was like, yeah, the other groomer said that also. And I was like, oh, okay. And she never booked with me again, and she went back to that other groomer. And I know she liked the haircut because she liked, like, the way that she responded to it. She liked it.
Yeah.
But then once I told her that the dog was bad, her whole vibe like switched, and she's like, oh, like, here we are again. She wanted someone that wasn't going to tell her or the dog was going to be good for her. So she didn't come back to me. Which I'm fine with that, because if that's what you want, I mean, I'm going to be honest and tell you what's going on. I want you to know so you're not surprised when I'm like, oh, couldn't get it done today. And you're like, what?
Oh, see, I did the opposite on the special handling. I told her, well, he bit me twice in the tub. And I'm like, that's when I gave her the ultimatum. I'm like, okay, he bit me twice in the bath, and I called her after the bath.
Yeah.
I'm like, he bit me twice in the bath, but that could be the bath. You know, I'm gonna give him a chance. If he's like this or worse during the haircut, then I'm gonna charge. And she was like, okay, let me know. And then it just went downhill from there.
Yeah, and that's why I'd rather be honest, because I'd rather have that relationship with a customer where I'm able to tell you exactly what's going on and you can respect it versus expecting me to magically make your dog good. Like, if I see that as a red flag, I'm like, okay, never mind. You know, you're just not my ideal customer, because I want us to be able to tell each other what's going on and be honest and upfront and not have to act a certain way for the money.
I only have one ideal customer, and that's one that comes in and tells me to do what I want to do. Other than that, I don't want it. You are not ideal for me if you don't just let me do my job. But when you get an attitude or you get rude, and then my face speaks volumes. I don't have to say nothing. My face shows it. But it's amazing how disrespectful people can be to groomers.
And I understand, like, you know, it's a service, so you're paying us to do what you want. I mean, most customers don't understand what all goes into it. Because you're paying us, you expect us to be magical and work all this magic that we know isn't possible, but you think is possible. That's where it goes bad. And most of the time, it's due to people not being educated, you know.
Which is also the annoying part of working for somebody.
It's one of the things that I like so much about working for myself is I get to choose, you know, what I'm going to put up with, and what I'm not going to. I get to make that decision.
And surprisingly, the limitations are a little bit higher when it comes to me doing it myself versus at work. Because Emily knows at work, if somebody's late, just if they're late, I'm in 30 minutes late, and I'm standing up front, I'm running to the back. And she knows that she ended up getting one of my dogs.
Yeah.
Because I refused to take it. What was it? There was another dog I did there. It was shitting. It was like explosive shit. I went up there and I told Katie, I said, yeah, that's not an option for me. And she was like, what do you mean? I said, it's not an option. Sit home. Because I'm not doing it. I ain't got time for that. Emily got shit on the other day, y'all.
It's fun. I got anal glands.
I thought it was shit.
When I had to change my spot?
I don't know. I thought it was shit because the dog dropped a dingleberry while you were walking.
No, it was anal glands.
Oh, it was anal glands.
So I got the dog from the customer. As soon as the customer handed me the dog, I was like, anal glands. So I'm like trying not to be awkward because I'm up front, but I'm holding the dog like this, like trying not to put it on me because I smelled it, so I knew that he had anal glanded. As I walked to the back, I'm like kind of holding him to the side, so trying not to let his butt touch me. And by the time I got to the back, he had anal glanded and it had went through my smock and onto my t-shirt. And thankfully my coworker gave me a smock and my other one gave me a t-shirt, so I was good. I think I got shit on me that day too, but it wasn't thinking out of my finger. That happens all the time, that it's like, man. Because I was blow drying the dog and I went to stand it up. And as I went to stand it up, it pooped. And so it got like, yeah. But that's so normal now that I'm like, oh, happened again. Oh, I'm doing a 5. I don't think I told you. I like doing 5s though. 5s are my favorite, I think. I don't like 4s as much. I like a 2-comb or like a 5.
I like 4s. 5s, it depends on the type of hair.
Takes it short, but then you can still see the curl kind of. Like on a curly doodle, a 5 it kind of just looks wavy. And I really would have liked to do something longer on him, but I'll deem it sometimes, but I don't see the point in it when I know he's going to come back matted and he's going to be pissed off and I would be pissed off.
Oh shit, let me ask Hello?
You don't notice Chelsea's always on the phone?
That is bullshit.
Chelsea is a businesswoman. Her phone is always ringing.
Unwanted.
All the time. I just imagine like when she clocks out of work, it's like phone calls until she goes to sleep. Catching up on everybody that's called her that day.
I swear. And then what makes it even worse is the customer. OMG. Hello?
Oh, me too. The worst, but he's not the greatest. It's a giant schnauzer in him. Schnauzers are always brats. Sorry, blocking the camera again. Can't see anything.
Jason's gonna be 7 at the end of this month. Not ready.
I think my niece is turning 7 and her birthday's on the 19th.
This month?
Yeah. It's crazy to think that when my niece was born, you were also in the hospital having the baby. I always think about that. It's like weird to me. I was in high school and was a freshman or a junior, thinking that you were in the hospital having a baby at that same time, and now here we are. It's weird. Was your pregnancy hard?
It sucks.
Were you like sick all the time, or?
I was fat. My feet were fat. Everything hurt. I peed on myself like 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
My wrist went numb when I turned 8 months. And I had to get steroid shots and shit, and I was working.
You were grooming then, or?
I was working all the way up to the last week I had her. The bathers were lifting. Because one time, the place I was working at the time when I was pregnant, she would give me dogs that the people wanted her to do, but they didn't know that I would do it because she taught me how to groom exactly like her. So whenever they would come in early, I would have to like fucking run in the back so that they couldn't see me with their dog, right? And so one lady came in, and at this point I was 8 months pregnant, couldn't run for shit, could barely see my parts when I looked down. And the stupid lady walked in early, and so I grabbed the dog and I start running to the back. And then The lady went up to my boss. She said, "Was she almost done?" Like I was that fucking slow to where she still saw me. I was a fucking snail.
Man, you put out all that effort.
I was tired as fuck, and it literally only ran like 5 feet. Like I never want to do that again. I am not a kid person. I am more of a dog person for sure. I would not have kids because of selfishness. There's still stuff I want to do. I'm still young.
Yeah.
You know? So I still want to travel. You know, I can't afford to do the things I want to do with more than one kid.
With another kid, yeah.
So that's where, you know, my selfishness comes in at.
Yeah.
I want to live my life now. I got pregnant at a young age.
Yeah.
At 20, you know, so now I want to live my life.
Well, that makes sense. I tell my mom the same thing. I'm like, Mom, I'm not ready. She's like, you'll never be ready. And I'm like, no, not like that. Like, I'm taking advantage of the fact that I don't have any right now.
Yeah.
And being selfish. And I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to not be selfish.
Exactly. And even when you have them, you're selfish.
Yeah.
My nana tells me all the time, why don't you share with her? Because I don't want to give somebody my food. You want me to starve to feed her? When she got a whole plate over there. She's not going to miss eating my meal and hers. But a lot of that selfishness has gone out the window, which normally it does.
Yeah.
I don't buy shit for myself.
Yeah.
When I do, I end up buying, come home with shit for her.
Something for her, yeah. I don't have any kids, but I spend more money on my dogs than I do myself.
That's all I'm saying. And it was a whole human, you know, everything that you want goes out the fucking window. So that's another thing, you know, my daughter is 6 years old. So if I ever do start something, I'm okay.
Yeah. Got time.
But I took, what, 3.5 months off when I had her. And I went through a depression because at that time I was working like crazy. And I didn't know how to not work. So me being at home was horrible for me.
Yeah.
Even though she was there. But I think it was, what do they call it?
Postpartum
Yeah.
depression?
I just needed to do something other than, you know, I loved her, but stare at a baby all day.
Yeah, I want to get to where I'm good, and I know it won't hurt me to take time away from work to be with him. And like my mom yells at me because she's like, "You're never gonna be ready. If you wait, you're never gonna be ready. You're never gonna have kids." And I'm like, "Well,
You're just never gonna be ready.
yeah, I'm never ready. I'm never ready, Mom.
It is.
I don't have kids. I just don't have kids. It's fine." His tail's super matted, y'all. I thinned it and then I brushed it. Now I'm going in with the dematting tool. Try to get the rest out. Normally I just comb it through, but he's being a big baby about it. So we'll be a little more gentle for Ollie, I guess. I know, they're tiny tangles. You're a big boy. Being very dramatic.
He's like, get away from there. Do not touch it.
He's got an attitude.
Speaking of that lady, I told her, the dog wasn't neutered, and I told her, you need to get him neutered. She's like, I told my husband that, but he has this thing about he doesn't want to take his balls away.
My opinion, it's more torture to keep him with his balls when he can't do anything with them than to take them away and him not have those desires anymore. Because imagine, smell these girls that were in heat and you couldn't do anything. You'd go crazy if you were a man. Yeah, that's
just get the thing neutered, please.
It's not cute, it's torture. If you take their balls off, they're not, I mean, they might still do those actions, but they don't have that drive like they do when they have their balls.
Yeah.
So they're not constantly feeling those emotions. And that's why people say to fix your dog, because it leads to so many behavior issues because they're frustrated. Okay, so I'm on his head now, but his head is super matted. I don't really know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm gonna start with just shaving around the neck, cleaning everything up. So, so he's all matted from the opening of the ear, behind the ear, all the way down to like all of this section. So since he got a 5 on the body, I'm gonna go ahead and take this from the opening of the ear and take down this part and leave the cheeks, but I'm gonna take this down and get all this extra. This would be a lot easier if he put his hand down. This is how he wants to do it. This is how we're gonna do it. Yes, Ollie. Yes. I'm not holding him that tight, y'all. I'm really not holding him that tight. He's just being dramatic. God. He has to feel in control, is what it is. So he's like, sure, I'll allow it. So that's really tight behind his ear. Might have to go shorter there. See what you're doing. You're not sneaky. So this is a big mat right here. It doesn't feel like I'm gonna be able to get a 5 through it. I think I'll have to go down. We're gonna try it. Ooh.
Hopefully we can get some longer cuts for you guys. There was a young lady that messaged me on there, messaged us on there about, you see it, Asian fusion faces? You see her? She was asking if we do any Asian fusion faces. And I'm like, well, I
Get one.
and it's not doing it. We kind of go with what we have on the day that we film. So if we don't have any, of those, and we don't video it. And frankly, because of COVID, everybody is bringing in matted dogs.
Yeah.
So nobody, we're not getting
gotta go down.
haircuts right now.
Can you sit, mister? You're making me real nervous living life on the edge.
It's been the same over here with you, huh? Mainly shave downs?
Mainly, yeah. I mean, not that they're wanting them, but because everyone's cold, so nobody wants to shave down. But for me, a lot of mine are already repeat customers, so I see them every 4 weeks. So they're not all shave downs, but my new clients have all been shave downs.
I have nothing but new clients, so. Yeah. I have yet to get anybody that wants color.
Is that what?
Color?
Oh, I do have a dog that's coming in and getting permanent color, which I've never done, but we're gonna do it. And we'll probably get, I have her scheduled for March, because she comes every 8 weeks. And last time I did her, I did a lamb cut, so her legs hopefully will be grown out a little bit more, so I'm gonna start doing palms. But she's scheduled in March, so hopefully we can try to schedule that ahead of time so we can film that one. Because that'll be an adventure. And I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to block off the whole day so we don't have to worry about rushing and missing our time. Oh yeah, I've never done permanent, so I'm excited. I've watched tutorials, but the good thing is the girl that's letting me do it is kind of my friend, so she's not really expecting, like, I'm not charging her full price for it either. It's just gonna be kind of for fun and for me to have practice. We're gonna do like 3 colors on her ears, kind of like an ombre on the ears, the palms, and the tail. So it'll be fun.
But you're out.
It'll just be 2 poodles. I'm out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want. But you have to stay if you're gonna lay down. Okay? No standing up when you want. Oh, well, alright. Back down we go, Ollie. You said you wanted to lay down. I let you lay down.
This is the fun of our job.
Jerk. Sit down. Come on. Sit. Good boy. Thank you. It's easier for me to not have him on this loop because this loop gets in the way, but he don't know how to act. I'm gonna go in with a C-comb. Easier to shop of. Sit. I normally go shorter, but the picture mom sent me was kind of a huge head, so I'm gonna see what this looks like. Decide if I want to shorter or not. Sir, your head is huge. He is so strong. Well, I always do my guard combs in reverse. If anybody was wondering, I know some people don't, but I always go reverse, back, and forward.
Depends on the hair, where the hair lays.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, yeah, it's the same way.
If it's like a Yorkie or something, no. Usually a teddy bear head. I'll come straight back. Or straight.
The only thing I don't like about it is I prefer a girl to have a bigger head because I don't like that point at the top of their head.
Yeah.
I cannot stand that.
I usually do whatever I'm gonna do, and then I go back and I always scissor that. This middle part is always gonna get scissored shorter so that it doesn't look like a point or mohawk. Oh my gosh.
I never shaved down though, so. Which is killing me because I cannot stand to shave down for 4 hours. I like to do it before the fire starts. We're killing me right now with the shave down.
Oh, big yawn. Good one. And reverse underneath the chin also. Both directions.
Oh, he's running. He's running.
Oh yeah. Having a grand time. Mr. Ollie. This is my first time doing it. His hair is weird on his face. That like curly but straight. It doesn't know what it wants to do, so it's kind of looks like he was electrocuted. So I'm just using my thinning shears and getting the corners of the eyes. What time is it now, Chelsea? What time is it now?
It's 4:21.
Going with my straights, and I'm gonna do the visor. I just use my thinners to get the corners of the eyes. I've been having this thing recently where I cannot get in the eye close enough. Like I'll trim the visor and then I'll look back at the dog and like the corner, like where the eyelashes are. It's taken me forever. I don't know what it is. And then I go in too tight and then I get the hairs underneath and then it's all choppy. Like I never used to struggle with it, and recently I've been struggling. I'm like, what am I doing different? What's going on? So I've been coming from the side and doing it instead of doing it from the front because I can't.
Like going in from the back?
Yeah, because I can't see. Ow! I think it's been throwing me off with doing so many top knots. That's kind of when I started messing up. I used to. It's just a thing recently. I'm like, why am I going backwards?
Thinking too much.
I'm telling you, there's just been a lot going on in my life.
I don't know if it's worse to think too much or to not think at all. You know, when you get to at the beginning, you think too much. In the end, you won't be thinking about shit.
Yeah. Stop it. Okay, we might get out of frame here, but this guy just doesn't know what he wants to do. So mom sent me a picture. So all I could get from the picture was that she kind of likes the beard, so I'm not really gonna trim the hairs that are, I'm gonna trim the hairs out of his mouth, but I'm not gonna go in and trim these hairs like super round, because the picture that she sent me had more kind of falling down, like a natural beard. So.
I don't like it.
I
don't like the beards.
I don't either, really. I'd rather have a round, tight, like a round muzzle than where it falls down.
Yeah.
Square.
It can even be a big head, but my big heads, the muzzle, or not the muzzle, the chin is still short.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the fullness is from the actual head itself, not a beard.
No, I like beards. Sometimes. It depends. If the head's long, I'll leave some underneath my chin. Super short. But I do prefer a round, short chin versus a big beard. You see what I mean about his hair? It's like curling up here, and then it's flat here, and then it's curling here.
It curls back, yeah.
So I'm gonna take it shorter to try to blend it with the shorter spots.
It's so hard to see him in the camera because it just looks like a black silhouette.
Yeah, it's hard to see him in person too. I'm using the background to my advantage right now.
It's even more annoying about the fact that I'm old is you straight up told me bring a couple jackets, and I walk in here with a half a fucking jacket. I did not have one jacket. I was washing before I came here.
I had a Bernadoodle earlier, and I was so proud of her because the first time I did her, I hated the way she came out because I did a comb, I think, on the body, and then I scissored her legs, and then her head was huge, and I could not scissor it to save my life because she was bad. She would not, I would go to close the scissors and she would snap at them. I was like, okay, I'm not about to cut this dog. So I did kind of like a puppy trim on her head. So her head was huge compared to her body. And I was so upset. And this time she came in and she was so good.
To the side just a little bit. There you go.
She was so good today. So I was able to actually give her like a round head. And I was happy with it and proud of her.
Puppy?
Yeah. It's like, she's about to turn 8 months, Mom said. She's still young.
God, that's the thing. They keep making more of them. It's like, I feel like people would just ask us what we want and get that. Because if that were the case, everybody in the world would have a Shih Tzu.
Alright, so I'm gonna leave the beard, but these nose hairs are a little too crazy. So I'm gonna trim these down just so they don't fall over his nose too much. 'Cause I hate when they're wet with snot. Hey. Alright, now his beard, I'm gonna comb it down instead of combing it up.
Come back over.
Thanks.
Makes it even worse as he's moving with you.
Yeah, I move over and he follows me. Ollie. Mister. I get him in a good spot, and then he's like, no. Sit down. Sit down. Oh. Sit. Thank you.
Oh, I'm enjoying this.
And it's these kind of dogs, man. They're not even bad. They're just irritating. These are the ones that get to me. Like, if you're bad and you're biting, I have patience. But if you're good and you're just being annoying, I have no patience.
I'd rather you be real about your shit and just bite.
Yeah. Let me know how it is. Don't just be annoying because
Don't
you know
just
you
play
can.
around with my emotions.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's fucking with me. Okay, so just gonna comb it down, and I will just take the longest pieces off and kind of curve it up, but not really gonna go into it too much. I can't see. It's so dark. I need some better lights in here. I'm gonna come from the side and I'm gonna blend it where I kind of had to take it shorter. I need to get my scissors sharpened. Oh my God, you are fighting me so hard. My shoulder is on fire. It doesn't look like he is, but he is.
Oh, yeah, we're out again.
Jesus. Am I in it?
You're good, yeah.
Okay.
I said, damn it, I didn't hear him. I didn't. Come back.
Oh my God.
At least on that side, you know you're in it.
Yeah. Alright. Now, I'm gonna look. Oh God, my shoulder. I'm gonna look and see if there's any in his mouth without trying to make them look too round. I don't think he's really got that much, so I'm just gonna do the front. But I'm gonna leave the corners so that it doesn't look too rounded. He's kind of got a beard going on. It's kind of choppy down here, but it was choppy when we started, okay?
Don't blame her.
Another reason why I shaved him. His whole back hop on both legs was shaved to a 5, pretty much. And I was like, that's weird, because you're 4 inches long. So I was like, yeah, whatever, we're just gonna move it down. And then his chin was short, and I was concerned, or not concerned, I was confused on why his chin was short. But everything else was super long. The whole time I'm editing this video, it's just gonna be come back.
The silhouette looks good. I swear you can't see nothing but the silhouette.
Yeah. So I didn't have to shave too much. I thought I was gonna have to shave more on his face. It's a little wonky in the back. I would have liked to have left more and blended it. But, oh well.
Especially with dogs like this, you kind of just get what you get.
Yeah.
Once a groomer gets to the point where they give up, that's
Yeah.
it.
It's like I don't have 3 hours of energy right now. Thanks, Ollie.
Ollie isn't much of a team player here.
He's trying to make it hard. He wants me to fuck up.
Come back.
I'm already done anyways. Whatever, that's my cue. I'm done. Alright. All done. Alright, y'all. That's Ollie. He's a brat. So I did a 5 on the body. What did I do on the head?
You did.
C-comb on the head.
Yeah, and
And
then
then
cleaned up the beard.
Yeah.
Well,
Now
that's it.
now he's like, oh, I like her.
Thank y'all for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, let's share.
And you can follow us on our other social media, Facebook and Instagram at Good Times Grooming. We will see y'all next week.
Bye-bye.